Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to be with you here today. As I was preparing, what I kept hearing when I was, in and brushing my hair and getting myself ready for meeting you, I kept hearing, pay attention. And what it occurred to me is that is what so many of us associate with attention. And when I hear pay attention, I get a little fear buzz. I get a little like I've done something wrong or I have to, narrow myself. And I'm imagining that just in school experiences, how many thousands of pay attentions you have heard. And since this is really about the nourishment of attention, and that giving ourselves attention and giving others attention is nourishing, that I want to suggest to you that you kind of monitor how you are hearing yourself talking about attention, and that when you hear any version of pay attention, you shift to giving attention. And so that's what I actually wanted to start with now. What is it like for you to give yourself attention? And I had the thought too that we usually only give attention so from here up. And so what I wanted to invite you to do is to give attention to your head in a new way, because we usually pay attention to our thoughts or pay attention to, using your mind, like a semaphore, like. But what if you gave attention to the sensations in your head? And then I'd like you to give attention out. What's it like to give attention to the space around you? When I do that, I find that my attention gets more fluid, rather than pointy. And so I want you to experiment with giving attention. And then I'd like you to give attention to the area around your heart. What are the sensations that you notice when you give attention around your heart? One thing I'm noticing is that I'm getting more breath in my back. I could feel my undergarment spreading out, along my ribs, and then I could notice that. So I could sense it, it might be happening, but if we're not giving attention to it, we're not really participating in the flow. And then again, letting yourself give attention out around you, and just notice how you do that when you're deliberately giving your attention. I also find that I get just more flow in general when I'm giving attention. I have a sense of, I'm going to the well and I'm getting my source from the wellspring. Whereas when I'm paying attention, I get kind of scarce, like there's only so much attention and I have to give it, or I have to, pay attention in just the right way. And then when you come back to you, I'd like you to give your attention to the area around your belly, the area around your belly button, and just noticing, giving attention to the sensations. And then giving attention to the sensory experience that you notice when you're giving attention outside of you. Now, I think it's different when we give attention to others. A whole different thing comes into play. And so what I want to play with just this morning is giving attention to you and then giving attention out here, because there's a way in which when I'm giving, I think that my intention then leads me to give attention to something that maybe I hadn't noticed before. Like, for example, right outside the window, there are these fire stick plants that are kind of going, they have this kind of very bright attention that I'm going, oh, ooh, I have that too. And I can then incorporate and embody all of the beauty that I'm seeing around me. And when I give attention out, I have one of my felines over here who is in the most, of course, feline restful pose. And then I can receive that for myself. And that my attention then becomes nourishing with what I am observing, but also with the act of giving attention. And so I want to invite you to release your breath as you're doing that, because I can see that some of you are having a kind of a there's it looks like your body is working. So if you were giving attention, just notice how that opens the flow in your body. And I also find myself just slowing down. And I love how you're letting your body respond to what is going on. I think that's a beautiful aspect of letting your whole body give and receive attention. So then there's giving and receiving. And if we're putting all of our focus on giving and then expecting others to give to us, that doesn't always work out. And, to the amount or the kind that we want. And so letting yourself be a source of giving attention to you. And if you add in letting your body respond, so you're either giving attention to the sensations around your head, or you're giving attention to the sensations around your heart, including your back, or giving attention to your belly. And I find when I do that, that I always get little messages, little my body like, oh, you need more water. I mean, it could be very, very specific, like, take a drink of water, or, oh, you forgot to write that thing down on the list. So I actually find it very practical when I give attention to myself. My body will remind me of something that I dropped midstream. So it allows me to be in the flow of activity without having to work on it, which I think is quite wonderful, to be able to be here fully and in exploration. I wanted to read, I've been noticing really like everywhere that there's more arising about attention and about the power of attention. And so I'm feeling very happy about this in this book that I'm reading right now. He talks about the novelist Iris Murdoch, who argues that morality is not mostly about abstract universal principles or even about making big moral decisions during climactic moments. And she gives illustrations of that and says, morality is mostly about how you pay attention to others. Now, notice she uses the pay word. And that was one of the when we put pay attention together with morality, I can understand that, like morals and manners, are about, what we should do. But what if we instead let ourselves get interested in giving attention, both to others and to us? And the power of our giving attention to others and giving attention to ours, I think, is the fundamental foundation of a story in the world, that we're really about the flow of attention, which is nourishing. So I want to just have you take a moment to notice, kind of do a whole body scan and feel into the impact of just circulating your attention for a few minutes here. What do you notice that might have shifted or opened up in your body? Because in the practice, we can also, we kind of forget to appreciate how much our bodies source for us our thoughts, our actions, our choices. And that as we're giving to ourselves, so right now I'm feeling just more movement, like my body has a nice little wiggle going. And I also experience that I'm like even more awake, even more here, noticing. And I want you to also see now, how does this impact your giving attention to the other people who are on the call? Like when I'm looking at people, when I'm giving attention, I'm noticing, oh, I want to breathe some more, because I can notice that breathing here is, feels like it's maybe a little stuck. And so I give attention to me and I open up my breathing more. and then I give attention out. So as you're doing that, our tendency with pay attention is not to move, because that's, I think, how we signify to others that I'm paying attention. And I can remember places where someone would say, sit still, you're not paying attention, which would to me was crazy making, because if I sit still, I can't pay attention. So if, however, you experience any kind of shoulds in your attention, I'd like you to actually just wiggle that off, but also to notice that paying attention makes you stop moving. And so if you even let your breath move a little bit more, you let your body move a little bit more, for me, that opens the flow of the faucet even more, so that I'm able to receive and let that integrate, and then give and let that flow fully outward, and then bringing it back to me. It almost, to me, I experience it almost as if an underground river, that the underground river is flowing and finding the places where I want to just land for a moment, and feel into what quality of attention is being asked for here. I was also just thinking of the people who are not here. One of my dear friends is grieving the loss of her dog, who just died over the weekend, and is heavily grieving, and I can feel her. And so when I'm giving attention out, I make sure to include her. And I know from many years of doing this that your attention makes a difference to other people, even if they don't know you're doing it. That if you're giving your attention and your presence to others, that's a gift that they feel, that gives them, more ability to presence with themselves. And then you can give that quality of attention to you. Because the other thing here is that I know that all of you on this call are more used to giving attention out there. That you're givers. Yeah, I just know that. So I want you to go, okay, yes, that's a wonderful skill that I have, and let's include me. And whatever you can do to include you, so using your hands, letting your body move, opening your breath, giving yourself the time, the actual giving attention to you, and then letting that settle. It's I was just having an image of when I'm filling the bathtub. uh Either I turn the water on for the cats, because they like to drink out of the faucet, and then if I forget to pull the plug up, then the water doesn't stay in there, and it just flows right on through. So what can you do right now to let the attention you're giving yourself settle and be absorbed, and letting yourself maybe actually enjoy it rather than it's a job? So I find, for me, that touch is incredibly helpful. And so that's one thing that you might try on. No, this is a place where you could actually add in love scoops, because giving yourself attention and then love scooping that, letting it settle wherever. So I have one hand on my belly now and one hand on my chest. And then as I'm talking, I can feel the vibration. Whereas mostly if I'm in my head, I don't know that the rest of my body is actually vibrating and feeling the attention that I'm giving. So basically, it's giving, settling, and then giving and flowing. And the moment that you let yourself do that, you're entering into this reservoir of attention. That's really who we all are, is just we carry attention around from place to place. And my sense is that attention and love are very, very close to each other. So, oh, excellent. Here we are at 9:15 my time. And so I want to to shift for those of you who may not have been on this call before. At the end of our loops and scoops, I share a card from our integrity deck, which is really all about aligning with reality and aligning with the flow of life so that you can be present to all of these moments of your life fully. And so, Michelle, can we have the card for today? I appreciate how you do this, Michelle, so that everybody can see, and then I can read the card to you and you can find it in your deck if you have it. So let yourself just notice your response to this card. And I'd love for you to look at it while you're listening to me read from the card, and then I'll tell you the name of the card if you haven't already guessed. I'm open to giving and receiving tosses of love, connection, collaboration, and open-ended exploration. For me, that's one of the things that loop of awareness does, is it opens my ability to give and receive tosses. And then the question is, how can I expand my ability to give and receive love, connection, and collaboration every day? So take a breath and just notice how your insides are responding to that. And I want to just read both of them once more while you're looking at this. I'm open. You could also say, I'm opening. I'm opening to giving and receiving tosses of love, connection, collaboration, and open-ended exploration. And how can I expand my ability to give and receive love, connection, and collaboration every day? Wonderful. And this is the play card from our threshold cards in the deck. So I was hearing when I read, I'm open to giving and receiving tosses. It occurred to me also that our giving and receiving attention is a toss. It's literally a toss out, and then it's a toss to us. And when I toss, it has that lightness and playfulness rather than this is a serious thing where I'm paying attention. But if I'm receiving tosses of attention, oh, that opens play and possibility, and also being able to receive the unexpected. Because I know one of the big challenges for me in life is dealing with the unexpected, because of early traumas, etc. Dealing with the unexpected was the most challenging for me. When something unexpected would happen, I would go into my fear response just, automatically. And so having a sense that, oh, attention is a toss, allows me to receive, even if it's coming from a different direction, or in a way that I hadn't planned for. So it allows me to get into the flow of life much more readily. So I think that most of us in our society are play challenged. And I've felt this way for a very long time, that we think that play is frivolous and that work is essential. And it actually, the very opposite, I believe, is much more accurate, that play is essential and work is optional. And if you look at societies that are not organized in the kind of technological way ours are, most of their time they spend playing. There's actually a society, and I can't remember where it is. I first heard about this from Gay. They lived in a big longhouse and they would be in their hammocks overnight. And if somebody woke up and somebody had a joke to tell, they would wake up everybody and they would tell the joke and everybody would laugh and laugh, and then everybody would go back to sleep. And so that, I thought, God, that's the kind of life I want to live in, where people will wake me up to tell me a joke. So, and actually, that's one of the big things that Gay and I share, is that we'll see something that's really funny, and we'll share it with each other. And for me, that's one of the best uses of technology, So this is what I share with my friends. Yeah, I share, funny cat pictures and, dogs on skateboards and, what, and also how people are responding to the unexpected in a more playful way. And so I really invite you to use this card to make play a primary for you, to make play essential for you, and to let play get moved in there. I've found I mean, the stats are just, off the charts. The research is so clear that play is much more effective, in general. To playing your way through a project or playing your way through a solution is way more effective than working on it. So I invite you to just take a look at one thing that you're working on right now and notice how you might benefit from tosses of giving and receiving attention to just open up the possibility to play more and more.